Behavioral segmentation. If you gather a lot of information on customer behavior, you can consider using behavioral segmentation, which will prove very useful for understanding the customer and also providing the right messaging, product, and pricing to him. Let's see when and how it is used. So in behavioral segmentation, we divide customers by looking at characteristics that describe his behavior. So it might be through the product usage rate, so how often he uses your product and to what extent. It can be described by loyalty status, benefit sought. So in the case of the benefit sought, it might be quality, it might be price, it might be convenience. It may be based on your historical behavior, if obviously we have data on that. And a great example of that you can find in streaming platforms like Netflix or platforms that do digital distribution of software. We can also divide customers by the ready-to-buy stage. So at what stage in our sales funnel they are. So you can have people who are not aware of your product. You may be people who are aware, but they are not considering. You may have people who are already considering that already have bought your product, or maybe they left you. So here we basically look at what stage they are given the usage of your product. And finally, you can also base it on the user and customer status. So as you can see here, we don't look at who he is, but rather what he does. And we want his behavior to tell us whether we should offer him the product or not. Now let's go briefly through examples of such segmentation. So here we have a segmentation of mobile games users, and we will look at the length of use. So how much time he spends per one usage, and then frequency of use. So how often per month he is using our game. And obviously we have a high, low, short, long, and we can divide it into 4 segments. So we will have a heavy users, medium users, non-users, and light users. Another way to segment is, for example, for consumer goods producer, that he looks at satisfaction of the customer with the product. So it might be big or small, and then the loyalty might be high and low. And thanks to that, we are able to identify 4 segments. So the first one are promoters. So people who are very satisfied with the product and loyal. So most likely they will promote our products. Then we will have hesitant customers. So their satisfaction is big, but they are considering other products as well. Then we will have people who may leave our company. So they are currently not satisfied with the product, but generally speaking, they were pretty loyal customers. And finally, we will have detractors. So people who are not satisfied with the product, they are not loyal, and most likely they will not only not use our product, but also recommend others not to use it. So this sort of segmentation you can do using 2 things around the behavior of the customer. Now, let's have a look when behavioral segmentation is a good choice. So first of all, I would recommend using it if the customer behavior is actually a good indication of his needs and what products you should offer him at what price and what channel. Then obviously you have to be able to track the customer behavior in real time. The fact that many companies have started gathering information on their products makes this segmentation much easier. Another important thing is that you should be able to provide or customize the product based on the customer behavior. So if your product cannot be really impacted despite the different behavior of the customer, then maybe this sort of segmentation doesn't make much sense. Behavioral segmentation is also a natural development of the attempts of the company to address the needs of the customer, and quite often it is used when the geographical or demographical data does not suffice to really identify proper segments of customers. And finally, you can also use behavioral segmentation not to adjust the product, but actually to adjust the messaging, and in this way to optimize the money you spend on marketing. Now let's have a look at what industries are in love with this sort of a segmentation. So most of all the businesses that have access to the data on customer are more than happy to use this sort of segmentation. And in this group, we would have e-commerces, marketplaces, SaaS companies, and airlines. On top of that, some consumer goods are trying to use this segmentation. However, the problem is that not all of them have access directly to the customer, and it's difficult for them to gather the data. And in this case, if they use this sort of segmentation, it will be rather based on very general things. A lot of multi-channel retailers have been adopting this sort of a segmentation because they have usually some sort of loyalty programs that gather data on customer and are in this way able to provide him with the proper choice of products and using the right language based obviously on the behavior of the customer. And finally, we have huge usage of this sort of a segmentation in financial service. This is mainly due to the fact that the behavior of the customer speaks volume about his risk profile and also his approach to financial products. So that's in short. Now let's move to a case study where we will look at the segments created thanks to the behavioral segmentation.